What is going on, guys? Thank you so very much for stopping by the channel once again today. I got a little bit of extra for you. It is June 18th, 2022. I am JD from New York, as always, coming to you from the OTS venue. Thank you guys so very much for joining me on your Saturday afternoons, wherever you may be. I got an update on John Laurinaitis. What is going on with him? When is he going to be actively removed from his WWE position as head of talent relations? And was he there with Vince McMahon backstage at SmackDown last night? I got an update on John Laurinaitis. We also got an update on Brock Lesnar and what the plan was for Lesnar. How long has WWE been in discussion with Brock Lesnar for a return, comically bad, a return for the WWE Universal Heavyweight Championship and Roman Reigns at SummerSlam? And ladies and gentlemen, it looks like we are heading in the direction of the rumors being true. Sasha Banks may be finished with the WWE. Internally, people are under the belief that she is released from the company. I got all the news on that right here on Off the Script. Follow me on social media at JD from NY206. That's Twitter and Instagram. Hit that subscribe button down below. Turn on the bell for all notifications. Make sure you guys hit that thumbs up. Let's try for 1,000 likes minimum on today's OTS Extra. Go check out all the content from yesterday and the rest of the week, man. Especially yesterday. We had 2 live streams nearing 8,000 viewers plus between the 2 live streams, with Vince McMahon stepping back as CEO, appointing Stephanie McMahon as the interim CEO. We went live with an emergency Off the Script 434. That's live on YouTube and all major audio platforms, as well as last night's comically bad SmackDown episode. We talk about everything coming out of Friday Night SmackDown, so make sure you guys go check that out on the homepage right now if you want more content or if you just missed anything that I've been up to. Let's start with John Laurinaitis, man. John Laurinaitis, obviously, he was thrown under the bus in this entire Vince McMahon scandal. Vince McMahon is under investigation for $3 million in hush money and having a secret affair behind Linda McMahon, his wife's back. All this news, I talked about it in depth completely on Off the Script 434 yesterday afternoon. But John Laurinaitis was ousted in this report from the Wall Street Journal. John Laurinaitis is the head of talent relations. And like I said, as previously reported, Vince McMahon has been accused of paying $3 million to a WWE paralegal to keep an affair quiet. It was an alleged email that was sent out. In this email, it stated that Vince McMahon gave her like a toy to John Laurinaitis. The investigation expanded into other non-disclosure agreements that involved misconduct claims made by other former female WWE employees about Vince McMahon and John Laurinaitis. It was reported earlier this week that both McMahon and Laurinaitis were planning to be at SmackDown. Vince was there, but apparently, according to Dave Meltzer, John Laurinaitis was never scheduled to be at Friday Night SmackDown. However, if it's not at Monday's Raw, if he's not at Monday's Raw, then there could be something internally that's going on. I don't even think it should be a situation where if we get to Monday Night Raw, then we're thinking that something is wrong with John Laurinaitis and he's been removed. He should have been removed before SmackDown even went live on the air. He should have been fired. I don't understand what's taking so long. I always hated John Laurinaitis back in the WWE because I knew what the man did in his previous stint before in the WWE. Now he was back, hired as one of Vince McMahon's right-hand men, and now he's obviously in this report from the Wall Street Journal. He is nothing more than a yes man. He's the fall guy ultimately in all of this. And you guys know how he feels about women's wrestling and the direction of the women's division. This guy is absolute poison for the WWE. Meltzer stated, and I quote, John Laurinaitis was never scheduled to be in Minneapolis Friday night. So him not being there is not necessarily any kind of story. I mean, he wasn't there, but there were some internet rumors that he was there. He was not there and not scheduled to be there. I believe he's scheduled to be there on Monday, but I don't know that 100%. But if he's not there on Monday, I would say then maybe there is a story. As far as he goes, it's going to be tough for him just because of the position that he's in, for one. Vince is the boss, and it's harder to get rid of him, obviously. But for John, it is a bad look. End quote. He's gone. I mentioned this on Friday afternoon, and I mentioned this on Friday night during the SmackDown post show. Stephanie McMahon is the interim CEO. Stephanie McMahon is the interim CEO in title only. Stephanie McMahon, I truly do believe, is not going to issue any change in WWE as long as Vince McMahon is still actively in power backstage in WWE. This is Stephanie McMahon, interim CEO in title only. Vince is still running the company. Vince is still in charge 100% of creative. Vince is still backstage. The mentality and the environment is not going to change as long as Vince McMahon is there. And I said this last night, with Vince McMahon there, creatively nothing's going to change. With Stephanie McMahon being appointed by Vince and him shilling that option to the board of directors, I feel like nothing really is going to change, but I do have some optimism that there will be change, because if Vince appointed Stephanie and Stephanie's the CEO, I do believe the board of directors are going to start to see change, or at least need to start to see change with Stephanie McMahon in charge. Otherwise, it's going to make Vince McMahon's decision look bad. Now, I know why he appointed Stephanie, because obviously the company is now still in control of, or the McMahons rather, are still in control of the company. And that was a great move, a mastermind move by Vince McMahon. But there will need to be change made in some aspects of the company just to kind of save face here and to show the board of directors that there really is going to be change. And that change, not going to happen creatively. Nothing's going to change overnight. Paul Levesque's not going to be in charge of anything creatively. NXT's not going back to what it used to be. All this fucking hoopla on social media, all these people living in a fantasy fucking realm on social media. None of that is going to happen. The change that needs to happen is people like John Laurinaitis need to get the fuck out. That's what needs to happen. John Laurinaitis, Kevin Dunn, Bruce Pritchard, and anybody else that's on Vince McMahon's team. That's the change. That should be step 1, 2, 3, A, B, C. That Stephanie McMahon takes and changes completely. That's it. I don't give a shit what else Vince McMahon does, as long as something is done to aid in taking that power away from Vince McMahon. Will he be a winner at the end of all this? Yes, I do think he's going to be cleared of all the charges, and this is going to be swept under the rug in 6 months or less. But I do think that change needs to be made. While she's there, change needs to be made. Before Vince McMahon gets back into the primary CEO position and resumes business as usual, change needs to be made. And John Laurinaitis is going to be a fall guy, but it should not stop at John Laurinaitis, because there are others who are just on the same page, if not worse, than John Laurinaitis. Get him the fuck out and drain that swamp. That's what needs to be done. I would not sit here and say all of this if it wasn't a fucking problem. I've been saying this for years about Bruce and about John Laurinaitis. These guys, both of these guys, everybody on Vince McMahon's team with that mentality, are nothing but fucking poison in the veins of WWE. If there's anything that this woman does, as long as Vince McMahon is going to be in charge, if there's anything that this woman does, and any change that the company needs to make, it's this. They got to get out. They have to get out of the company for it to look and feel any better after Vince McMahon has stepped back from the CEO position. Brock Lesnar, the other comically bad story that came out of WWE last night on Friday Night SmackDown. Brock Lesnar's returned to WWE TV after Roman Reigns solved the riddle of Matt Riddle. Brock Lesnar's back on WWE television as he returned following the main event, where Roman Reigns retained the undisputed WWE Universal title over Matt Riddle. Brock Lesnar came out and shook Roman Reigns' hand before hitting him with an F5. He attacked the Usos and stood tall in the ring to close out the show. Following the show, WWE confirmed that Lesnar will challenge Roman Reigns in a last man standing match at SummerSlam for both the Universal and the WWE Championships. Comically fucking bad. Originally, WWE planned for Reigns to defend the title against Randy Orton at SummerSlam, but Orton is dealing with a back injury and WWE fears he will have to undergo surgery that will keep him out of the ring for the rest of the year. If you guys watched SmackDown last night, Matt Riddle cut a promo in the beginning of the show pretty much confirming that Randy Orton is headed to surgery for his back. Fightful Select is reporting that once it became clear that Orton wouldn't be able to wrestle, the plan was put in place for Lesnar to return to television. Word started to spread backstage at SmackDown before 5 p.m. Eastern Time that Lesnar could be returning, but it was not confirmed on the internal rundown sheets backstage that were handed out just before the show. In regards to whether this was a reactionary move after Vince McMahon's investigation, the report states and plans for Lesnar's return were put into place about 3 weeks ago, which would have been well after the investigation started. So I don't give a shit when these plans were put into place and when these plans were devised for Brock Lesnar, if it happened the day of, if it happened on Thursday, if it happened on Friday, if it happened 3 weeks ago. It doesn't fucking matter when these plans were made. If they were made on Friday, WWE are a bunch of fucking idiots. If it was made on Thursday, WWE was a bunch of fucking idiots for the span of 48 hours. 3 weeks ago, that makes WWE a bunch of fucking idiots for the last 3 weeks. It's a shit decision. I ranted so bad about this on Friday Night SmackDown and the post show that I still have so much fucking ammunition on this that I don't really want to come out here and repeat myself, but I'm going to go over the basis of the situation. This is how creatively bankrupt WWE is right now in the summer of 2022. This is their fault. Nobody wants to see Brock Lesnar and Roman Reigns again. I don't give a fuck if it's the last man standing, steel cage, Hell in a Cell, ladder match. I don't give a fuck if they're on the beach fighting in the fucking heat of the summer with fucking bikini-clad babes, fucking dancing around. I don't give a shit where they fight. I don't care. Roman Reigns and Brock Lesnar, nobody wants to see it again after you spent all year, going back to last year's SummerSlam, all year giving us this angle and this storyline with these two guys, only for it to end at WrestleMania, thankfully, giving Roman Reigns the titles, both titles, only to re-up and do it again in the summer of 2022 after we just got done with a full calendar year of it? Does WWE even give a shit about their audience? No, they don't. WWE thinks they're bigger than they really are. WWE foolishly thinks they can sell out the fucking Tennessee Titans football stadium for SummerSlam. Let me tell you something, WWE. You ain't as big as you think you are, man. You foolishly think you could fill 60, 70,000 seats for SummerSlam and go about it the same way that you booked WrestleMania, and all is going to be all right in the world. But let me tell you something. The more that you show how creatively bankrupt you are, the quicker people are losing interest in your product. And I don't know how many more people need to lose interest because the fucking audience has been dwindling week over week over week, year over year over year, and you do nothing to fucking change that. Nothing. WWE thinks they're bigger than they are. They're desperate for ticket sales now to sell out SummerSlam, so they think Brock Lesnar and Roman Reigns is still some kind of big fucking marquee match. Let me tell you something, it's not. To the fucking idiot out there, to the fucking dumbass checkmark shill out there, it may be the biggest fucking marquee match that they can do. But how big of a marquee match is it when it's been done 9 times previously? I can't get excited about it, nor will I get excited about it. And the kicker is, WWE thinks this is a marquee match. The fucking blithering idiots out there are excited to see it. I got to hear up and down, well, there's no other option, JD. There's no other option but Brock Lesnar, man. Let me tell you something, man. If you're coming to me, a man of sheer brilliance when it comes to the WWE and in the world of professional wrestling, man, I've given you more gold than Roman Reigns has given you gold with that fucking gold glove he wears, man. Let me tell you something. You're going to come to me with the argument that there's no fucking other option but Brock Lesnar, man. Are you fucking serious? You mean to tell me that Roman Reigns, who has not been on Monday Night Raw since WrestleMania and winning those championships, there's no options better than Brock Lesnar for WWE to put in the ring with Roman Reigns and help sell out SummerSlam? What about Brock Lesnar and Bobby Lashley doing a one-on-one match? They never finished what they started. You could have did that and moved Roman Reigns on to AJ Styles. Could have did that. 1-2 punch at SummerSlam. There you go. I would like to see a redo of Brock Lesnar versus Bobby Lashley, because what I thought we saw at Royal Rumble was fucking trash. I thought it was lame. It was very, very underwhelming. AJ Styles is a marquee guy. He's a big enough name to sell out SummerSlam and put in the ring with Roman Reigns if the story is right. I don't know why you don't venture off and do that and explore that. Well, what about Roman Reigns and Bobby Lashley? I'm sorry. We're all out of options, but Bobby Lashley's over there. He's already motioning to the crowd that he wants another shot at the WWE title. Clearly, he wants the WWE title back on Monday Night Raw, as we saw at Hell in a Cell when he took some poor schmuck's fucking replica title and starts roaming around ringside with it. You mean to tell me that we're all out of options, but Bobby Lashley exists on Monday Night Raw? Reigns versus Lashley, Reigns versus Edge, Reigns versus Rollins, Reigns versus Styles, Reigns versus Owens. No, we're completely out of options, though, right? We're completely out of options. So much that we got to go back and do Brock Lesnar all over again to the interest of nobody. Give me a fucking break. This shit is so fucking bad. I am even contemplating not even watching the fucking match. Honestly. Why would I have to sit here and watch something that we've seen 9 times over already? And if you guys really open your eyes, this is the fucking sad state of the WWE. They are booking SummerSlam in the same exact way that they did WrestleMania. Lesnar versus Reigns, WrestleMania main event. More than likely, we're going to get Bianca Belair versus Becky Lynch for the Raw Women's Championship. There's no doubt in my mind that Seth and Becky both win the men's and women's Money in the Bank at Money in the Bank. And Becky Lynch cashes in at SummerSlam for Bianca Belair, whether it's Bianca and Rhea and Becky cashes in, or we get Becky cashing in and making that a triple threat match, or just cashing in on a one-on-one match. Bianca versus Becky in some way, shape, or form is going to be a match at SummerSlam. WWE last night even booked and teased a potential match between Pat McAfee and Happy Corbin. When was the last match that Pat McAfee wrestled for WWE? Oh, that's right. It was at WrestleMania against Austin Theory and Vince McMahon. WWE's roster problems are so fucking abysmal right now that they gotta go and reach into the commentary booth and pull Pat McAfee out behind the chair and get him in the fucking ring because they have no other options on Friday night because of their shit roster. That's their fucking fault. If you didn't fire Andrade and Malachi and Keith Lee and Karrion Kross and everybody fucking else that exists, Adam Cole, Johnny Gargano, you got Tommaso Ciampa over there on fucking Monday Night Raw, dwindling away into fucking absolute obscurity. If you didn't fire half the fucking roster, you could have had more than enough to fill SummerSlam and make it feel different. You could have filled out a nice little resume there for Roman Reigns with a bunch of new opponents. You mean to tell me that Keith Lee couldn't be an adequate opponent for Roman Reigns at SummerSlam? This is what these people should have been built up for. Now, but I'm the bad guy. I'm the bad guy for bringing you guys the truth in this situation. Pat McAfee versus Happy Corbin. We're going to get Bianca versus Becky Lynch. Roman versus Lesnar. I mean, this is shaping up to be WrestleMania Part 3. I don't know how anybody could get interested in that at all. Finn versus AJ, Finn versus Edge, rather. That'll be basically the same thing that we got with Edge and AJ at WrestleMania. This is basically WrestleMania Part 3 all over again. This shit, Austin Theory versus John Cena, right? Oh my God. This shit is fucking lame. It is so garbage, man. No, but stand up for the E, man. E for life, you know. I gotta hear this shit on social media. They got their defenders, and clearly they have the IQ of a fucking plastic straw. Awful. WWE is fucking pathetic. If they think Roman Reigns and Brock Lesnar is going to be a marquee match, let me tell you something, Vince. You may be the smartest businessman of all time, one of the smartest men in all of business, but my God, man, when it comes to creative for your own company, you are absolutely fucking garbage. This guy is as unintelligent as they come. I can't stand this shit, and last night was fucking pathetic. Finally, guys, multiple sources Multiple sources have now confirmed, still not confirmed yet by WWE, but multiple sources have confirmed that Sasha Banks is gone from the WWE. There is more confirmation coming out about Sasha Banks being indeed gone from the WWE. Raj, the tweet that blew up, that got him death threats because he posted about it. Raj Giri broke the note from the news from Wrestling Inc. about Sasha Banks' release, and it has been since confirmed by WrestleVotes via multiple sources in WWE. There have been some doubt about the story amongst fans on social media because WWE had not made an official statement, and she is still listed on the WWE.com roster page. Banks reportedly had her lawyers get involved to get her release, and it seems as if she got what she wanted. There is even more confirmation that Sasha Banks is gone from WWE, and it appears that the release happened quietly a while back. Reddit insider Kermit125, who has broke multiple stories on Ronda Rousey this year and Cody Rhodes, who's broke multiple big stories, posted yesterday and said that the release happened weeks ago. There were some reports this week that her legal team was involved in granting the release. Nobody knows if the 90-day non-compete clause was attached to that or if she got that wiped away. Nobody knows what's going on with Naomi after the rumors of her contract coming up, if she's still with the company or if she's going to walk, what her plans are moving forward. Nobody knows. Naomi and Banks have remained relatively quiet. Banks has been completely quiet. And I'm assuming because of the lawyer situation, she did not say anything just based off that. Naomi posted something on social media a couple of days ago about being unhappy in multiple aspects of your life, and you need to remove what is making you unhappy. And it was kind of an inside thing about WWE making her unhappy. It's on her Twitter page if you guys want to go check that out. 90-day non-compete. We don't know if Sasha Banks got that removed or if that's going to be a thing. But if the release happened some weeks ago and the 90-day is removed, this woman could go wherever she wants. She could go to Japan. She could go to AEW. She could not wrestle at all and just go to Hollywood and live a quiet, happy life all by herself with Mikaze. I don't know. I don't know what's going on. If it happened weeks ago, then WWE is taking their sweet-ass time in announcing Sasha Banks is released. Now, I don't know what's going on. I really don't. The 90-day thing is the big hang-up here. Why are they waiting so long? If everything was finalized a week ago or some weeks ago, why are they waiting so long if the 90-day is not involved? It makes me think that the 90-day clause in her contract is still intact and WWE strategically waiting to release her and have it purposely be at a point where she doesn't show up in Chicago for All Out. There's no opportunity of that happening. That she doesn't show up in Queens, outside Citi Field for Grand Slam at Arthur Ashe Stadium in September. WWE seemingly looks like they're waiting and taking their sweet-ass time so that Sasha Banks theoretically could miss if she does end up going to AEW, which they obviously are fearful of. If she goes to AEW, she would miss both of these huge major shows, which would bring a huge spotlight on AEW, especially after what happened last year at All Out and what happened last year at Grand Slam. They don't want the same repeat to happen this year in the form of Sasha Banks. It makes me think that the 90-day is still intact. Now, if she got her lawyers involved, I would assume that Sasha Banks is not an idiot and she would get that actively removed because she knows better than anybody, I'm sure, that the 90-day clause to the contract is nothing more than a pile of shit. It's dog shit. It's ridiculous. So I don't know what's going on here. But WrestleVotes and Raj and Kermit here on Reddit, who's a WWE insider, he obviously knows somebody within the company that knows his shit. So all of these things adding up is kind of leading us to believe that Sasha Banks really is released from the WWE, but it's not confirmed by WWE yet at this point. You know, I hear a lot of people saying, oh, JD gonna call Sasha Banks a game changer, man. You abso-fucking-lutely believe it. I will call Sasha Banks a game changer. Because for that women's division, she is. If you don't think she's a fucking game changer for the women's division, I say this all the time, man, but this one, pretty much ranks up there, high up there on the list of fucking stupid shit. You may be the dumbest motherfucker that I've ever heard from in the entire internet wrestling community. If you don't think Sasha Banks is a fucking game changer if she goes to AEW for that women's division, why are you even on Twitter talking professional wrestling? The word pro wrestling, the words pro wrestling should not even be uttered out of your mouth if you don't think so. What a missed opportunity for WWE, man. You don't think Sasha Banks, and this is what they're usually fearful of anyway. They don't want somebody else to use WWE, the company, as a platform to go on and be bigger than the actual fucking company. This is what WWE has major insecurity problems. It's happened with John Cena. It's happened with Batista. It's happened with fucking Hulk Hogan. It's happened with, it's happening with the Roman. It's happened with Dwayne. They're all going to go on and be bigger stars than the actual fucking company that they work for. WWE has some major insecurity problems. Sasha Banks is a fucking crossover superstar if you ever laid eyes on one. WWE is missing the opportunity to have somebody like that who transcends all genres and all forms of entertainment. They're actively, willingly letting her go because they don't find her to be valuable to them anymore. They'd rather put all their eggs in the Becky Lynch basket, the Charlotte Flair basket, the Bianca Belair basket, and WWE has done nothing to find the next Sasha Banks because there isn't another Sasha Banks. WWE has put all their eggs into their fucking, narrative on Becky and Bianca and Charlotte, and they have yet to find somebody that transcends the way Sasha Banks does. What a fucking fail. A complete fail. Sasha Banks, in some circles, you may agree with it, you may not agree with it. I don't give a fuck what you say about me. Sasha Banks is one of the best female performers in the entire industry. She's one of the best female performers in the world. WWE is losing their best female pro wrestler. WWE is losing somebody that is going to bring the revolution to AEW and transcend the women's division unlike anything it's seen before. She did it in WWE. Why would you ever doubt this woman to not do it in AEW? With the women that Tony Khan has put in that division around somebody like Sasha Banks potentially coming in, you cannot sit there and tell me that the women's division isn't as great as any other women's division in all of pro wrestling. All it needs is that one superstar, and all it needs is some form of direction. And it will be just like the revolution was when Bayley and Sasha and Paige and everybody else at the beginning of that revolution in WWE. It's going to be just like that, if not better. WWE has dropped the ball on Sasha, on the direction of the women's division, the women's titles. Clueless. Absolutely clueless. And you're letting the one person who's cared about the overall state of the division for years go. And when she goes, there's not one single woman in that company that will ever give a shit as much as Sasha Banks has given a shit. And to me, that's the most important, because right now you'll have nobody fighting for what is right, and it will become worse than what we see now. Sasha cared so much that she opted to leave the fucking company that she had dreamed of working for her entire fucking life. If you don't think that the company did her dirty and the overall women's division, Sasha Banks is the fucking clearest indication of what they think of women's wrestling. If you let that woman go, you clearly don't give a shit about women's wrestling in your own company, and you just let the biggest fucking asset in that entire division walk because you don't value her the way everybody else values her. What a fucking joke. A complete joke. Tony Khan is salivating at the thought of Mercedes being a free agent. And if you don't think she's a fucking game changer, man, holy shit. Get with the fucking program. That woman comes on in, instant change of the game. Thank you guys very much for joining me on OTS Extra. Let me know what you guys think down below in the comment section. Hit that thumbs up. Hit that subscribe button down below. Turn on the bell for all notifications. And if there's any more news on Sunday, man, I'll be right back with an extra. No full-fledged podcast this weekend, as we have been doing live. You got one on Friday afternoon. Go check all that out in your 2 hours of Off the Script 434 emergency OTS, talking about Vince McMahon stepping back, not stepping down, stepping back from the CEO position, appointing Stephanie McMahon as the interim CEO, and Friday Night SmackDown talking about everything regarding Roman Reigns and Brock Lesnar and the joke that is the SummerSlam main event for 2022. Again, guys, hit that thumbs up, and I'll see you right back here on Sunday if there is news on Off the Script. I'll see you guys later.